Hey everyone, I made an iteration of the Momofuku Bossam over the weekend. I'm here to show you how. This is a great thing to make when you want to grab your friends together, and it requires very little effort for the pork itself, so let's just get started. Now, Bossam is usually made with pork belly, but Momofuku uses a pork shoulder instead. I got here a 10-pound pork shoulder, and this fed 10 people with no issues. First, we're going to dry brine it overnight with some salt and sugar. We're going to rub it all over the pork shoulder and let this sit overnight to let the salt and sugar penetrate and season the meat internally. This is a huge piece of meat, so don't be afraid to be liberal with the salt and sugar. Once we finish covering the whole pork, leave it in the fridge overnight. Next day, remove the pork and try to rub off the excess sugar and salt still on the outside and try to dry the surface with a paper towel. We'll also preheat our oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. When the oven is preheated, stick your pork in there and that's it. This is going to take around 5 to 6 hours, but it's mostly hands off. You could baste the outside with the pork fat renderings every now and then, but you don't have to, it's up to you. Most of this is just waiting. Now we're going to make two sauces. There's going to be a ginger scallion sauce, which is pretty much just a riff on Gurchong, which is Cantonese for ginger scallion, and some Samjong. Alright, for the ginger scallion sauce, we're going to take 2 chunks of garlic, I would say around 2 knobs, and 3 bunches of scallion. I'm going to place my peeled ginger inside the food processor, and I'll separate the whites of the scallions with the greens. The whites of the scallions I'll put into the food processor, and the greens I'm going to chop into small pieces and reserve this in a bowl. Time to use our food processor. I'll add in a pinch of salt, around 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and some neutral oil, around 1/3 of a cup. I'll begin to chop up everything using the food processor, and if it's too thick, feel free to add more oil. After the majority seems to have been chopped up, we can add in around 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Honestly, after looking at this method, this seems kind of like a Chinese chimichurri sauce, with the vinegar, the aromatics, and our greens being scallions instead of parsley. I do a final taste test to see if it needs more salt, and I adjust before I dump this mixture into my bowl of reserved scallion greens. Now give everything a good mix until it's homogenized. Then I'll store it in the fridge until the pork is done, so this allows the mixture to soak into the green scallion bits. Now for the samjong. I roasted some sesame seeds and I reserved it on the side. In a bowl, I have around 3 tablespoons of sesame seeds, and I'm going to scoop in around 1/3 of a cup of pre-made samjong, along with 1 tablespoon of gochujang. Add a tablespoon of sesame oil as well as some water to loosen everything up, and give everything a good mix. Then add in around a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar along with 2 minced garlic cloves. Give everything one final mix and give it a taste. If you like it more spicy, then add more gochujang. Now we're finished with our 2 sauces. All you gotta do left is wash some romaine lettuce and cook some white rice, so I don't really gotta show you that, right? Time to check our pork around 6 hours. You can see how easily the fork goes in, and you could twist off the meat. We're gonna do one final step of patting some brown sugar on top and putting it back in a 500 degree oven to roast until it's nice and caramelized, like this. A nice crusty and caramelized top while the inside is still tender and juicy. This can be the centerpiece of your dinner, and you can grab the lettuce wraps, some pork, and use any sauce with the rice, and you got a delicious bite in your hand without breaking the bank. So give it a shot.